He's a multifamily expert, and if you have not seen the episode, please go check it out. We cover a lot of capital talk for multifamily and structures and tax abatement structures and ways to increase NOI. If you have not heard it, go check it out. It's a few episodes before this one. But today we cover deal breakdown. We cover cool, interesting stories. And Craig has a really cool story for us, which I'm excited to hear. If you want to jump into it, Craig.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for giving me, as I said, the platform to be here. I really appreciate it. Something I want to actually share with y'all today was a really tumultuous story in the crazy world that was 2023 real estate. So effectively, what happened was we're in the process of taking down our biggest, most ambitious project yet, which was a $105 million tax abatement portfolio in the city I'm in right now, which I'm coming from the city of Houston, which is a Houston 3-property tax abatement portfolio. And the issue is that we were in the crosshairs of many things. Interest rates were going up, but interest rates weren't really the factor on this deal. What was the factor on this deal actually was something really tough, which was doing this tax abatement deal, you have to do partnerships with the Houston Housing Authority and whatnot. And about a month before closing, we had raised about $40 million. Yes, I said that correctly. $40 million on this deal. And the mayor of Houston ended up actually saying, hey, no more tax abatement deals going on right now. So we're here having spent millions of dollars on due diligence, millions of dollars on non-refundable earnest money deposit with a memo from the mayor saying no more tax abatement deals for right now. Naturally, we're not going to let this happen without a fight and without doing everything we could in our power to make sure that we could close this deal, because we had all of the investors' equity raised, we had all of our time, emotion, and energy poured into this opportunity. But to hear that in April, about a year ago today, that it was no mas, no more. So unfortunately, this was the longest escrow and the craziest process, because we were under contract under LOI in January of 2023. We got the news that we were not really allowed to move forward and transact and close on this deal in April. So we were not knowing what to do. We were in the middle of, kind of crazy economic turbulence. We had obviously, at that point, I believe it was Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank go kaput, as we all remember, that went away. So in the midst of everything going on, this was occurring. And we had basically our people say, hey, you can't close the deal. So we did everything we could. We called the brokers. We called all the people saying, hey, we're doing what we can to work this out. Your money is at no risk here. It's just timing and opportunity costs. So we had all the partners we had, the joint venture equity group, all of that, just sitting on the sidelines, waiting. I had to basically raise this deal money-wise 3 times, because the initial, the keep everyone involved in the deal, and then finally, so fortunate to say this, but I want to say in September, we finally got the green light after keeping every investor dollar in this deal. That's $40 million of equity we kept, where they were getting no return on it while other deals are going on. But we fortunately were smooth enough and fortunate enough and had a good enough reputation where everyone did, in fact, stay in the deal to finally close the deal. So we had to work with the brokers on this one, this Houston Housing Authority on this one, and then, of course, the lenders on this one to make sure this transaction did not go belly up and blow up. So it was a really, really crazy story. As I said, it basically had to raise for this deal 3 times. It was a nightmare. It was a mess, but we've got it across the finish line. And I think what we learned is that we are incredibly resilient, and that our investors really do appreciate us, and they're willing to let their money make $0 for them during that process while we figured everything out. So we got it done. We got across the finish line, but it was not for the lack of effort, or for not for the lack of drama, I should say.
One thing I'm realizing, the bigger transactions you get, the more politics you have to play when you're playing with the transactions. So we're dealing with like a 200-acre development, and we're talking to the county, and the county commissioner doesn't want to do this, and oh my goodness.
Well, all the backdoor deals you probably have to make, right? Especially in development, especially with land, right? So we don't do development, we do value add opportunities, preserving affordability. But I know so many people that have been in, Seattle or the Bay Area or places like that on the West Coast, or maybe even New York, that, okay, well, I'll do this, but what are you going to give me in return? So Absolutely. Are you going to give me some affordability? Are you going to give me some of this, some of that? What's going on here? So it is certainly not the easiest game to play and to navigate from time to time, but it is nonetheless, if you can make it happen, and you have the chops to do it, and you have the patience to pull it off, it is certainly worth the squeeze.
I am sure during that, how long was that time period from start to finish where you Like,
It basically consumed 2023 entirely. We finally closed the deal in October, so it was just absolutely brutal. We closed the deal, actually, I want to say, no, end of October, early November on National 1031 Exchange Day, also known as Halloween 1031. But we closed it finally then at that point. So that was, all in all about a 10, 11th month grueling process, keeping investors in line. And for those who don't know about the capital raising world and whatnot, you put your money in there, and then it's doing nothing. It's just sitting. So we, of course, aren't commingling funds. It was just basically in our Chase account. But I would have to call people basically every month saying, hey, the update is that there's no update. But this is what's going on. Nothing new to share, but we're here. We're working. We're thinking about you. This is what's up. So all my all of our firm's investors, know me very well, have my number, and know that if I'm calling, it's probably regarding a deal, but also an update of sorts. And sometimes the update is, in fact, there is no update. But that is really crucial. You can't just, go, rogue and go ghost on people. You really have to communicate through the entire process. And that was the learning lesson that I think I really held, is that, stay with it, stay committed, do what you're going to say, and follow up and let people know what's going on.
That was actually my next question, was how did you juggle all this stuff? Because I know you have to alert the capital at least once a month. So I'm sure there's probably a couple investors in there that were non-appreciative than others.
Well, they understood, and we said, hey, listen, you can pull out your money at no cost to you, and this money is just sitting here. If you want to, have it go, if you want to return and you want to invest later, we understood. But fortunately, basically 90% of the equity stayed in the deal from the initial outreach, which is really impeccable. So it goes to show that we built something pretty special, or people are willing to stay and not do anything with their money when, you could put it in a hard money account or some sort of, CD account, making, 4 to 6% a year or 10% a year, depending upon the hard money structure. So that, every investment, it's not only the investment, but it's the opportunity cost associated with it, right? Because, what we're really trying to get is, an outsized return with any dollar you invest out there on a risk adjusted basis. But going through that process where people were making no money on their deals showed a level of faith that I was very proud of, to say that people put that trust and faith into us that we would execute. And fortunately, we did.
No, it's amazing. That is an amazing story. I think keeping all the 90% of the capital there shows the relationship you have with your capital partners. I think it's huge. So I think you guys are going to be around for a long time, especially with that.
Let's hope.
That type of loyalty, because man, the money is desperate to move, and if they ain't moving, they're usually pulling and pushing it somewhere else. So
absolutely.
I think it's a great opportunity and it's a great story, man. I think it's amazing. But congratulations.
Thank you.
If anything, but I appreciate you coming on. Where can people find you online? And here.
Absolutely. You can find me on LinkedIn, just the first name, last name, Craig McGrouther. On YouTube, Craig McGrouther. Also search up Rod Beardsley. We do a weekly podcast together, just kind of breaking down the nuances and intricacies of the multifamily real estate world. So if that's something that's interesting to you, find us there. Also, go to our website if you want to look us up too, kind of do some digging. We're open books, but the website is www.lscre.com. Lone Star Capital Real Estate, lscre.com. You can find us there.
Well, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us. I hope everybody learned. Please go check out the other episode. If you're here listening, we talk a lot about cooler stuff in the episode. Please go check it out. We'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for coming on, Craig. We'll see you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.